For next week, I would like you, in fact, I insist, if you go here to week 5, where are you? Week 5, you will see a link to a doco, Disputation of Barcelona. Disputations, we'll see in a moment, are when the Christians tried to convince the Jews of the error of their ways and would invite them to these big public debates to attack or to convince them that Jesus was in fact the Messiah. And there was a lot at stake in these big debates. The most famous one happened in Barcelona in the 1260s. And we have an account, a very good account of that disputation, and it's been made into a historical, it's been historically reconstructed, if you like. It's 4 15-minute episodes. You can watch 2 of them and you'll get the picture, but it's a lot of fun. It's very eerie and very medieval, and you can just watch that for next week. So you just click on that and it comes up. Okay, back to where we were. So, no, that's just what I did. I should point out that in terms of readings and sources for your essay, obviously you've got the essay asks you to focus on a particular country. Germany, France, Italy. You can do Italy, but Italy's its own thing. Spain. And you've got specific readings on the reading list. But all the readings that have been up on Moodle up until now, especially the last 2 weeks, not week 1, not week 2, but week 3 and 4 readings, are very general overview readings of the situation of Jews and Western Christendom and Latin Christianity. So I recommend you read those, and you certainly can use those in your essays. They're very good general sources, but you'll be able to pull out specific information, and then also from there then go to the specialist readings, focusing on the country that you choose. Okay, so that brings us to today's class, which we're going to go quickly again because I want to give you a broad overview, and then we're going to do a play. We're going to read a play. We're going to act a 13th century German play out, which will be a lot of fun. We'll get there. So today, you'll notice that we've left Spain out of the picture, because we'll come back to Spain next week, because Spain has its own particular trajectory, because with Spain, the Jewish situation goes from Jews under Christian rule to Jews under Islamic rule, back to Jews under Christian rule, and then the expulsion. So it's more complicated, and so we'll treat it on its own. But we're focusing today on our last session, if you like, on Jews and Western Christendom, so France, Germany, England, but really France and Germany especially. And today is where we'll encounter the nadir, the low point, the real low point of Jewish-Christian relations. By the 15th century, Jews will have been expelled largely from most of these countries, and that will be the reason why Jews will end up in Eastern Europe, by and large. The reason Jews will be in Poland and the Pale of Settlement, that's Belarusia and Russia, will be precisely because they've been expelled progressively from the West and have made their way to the East. Poland, of course, being one of the great homelands of the Jews. The Poles welcomed the Jews en masse beginning in the 14th century, and that extended obviously up until the middle of the 20th century. So this is very much the dark chapter. And you'll recall, just if we recall what we saw last week, I'm not going to read all of this out. I'm not going to read any of it out, in fact. You'll recall that the situation between the Christianization of the Roman Empire leading up to the Crusades was a bit of a mixed bag. Certainly we saw increased state-based persecution as Christian theology fused with state power. And so we saw the imposition of the Theodosian law codes, and we saw the hardening of some church policies. But we also saw that tempered by the traditional tolerance of Roman law and a genuine belief on the part of the popes to implement Augustinian doctrine, that the Jews shouldn't be killed. We give them the buckler of our